That is correct. Welcome in, welcome back to this very disturbing edition of the Always Irish Show. Thank you for being here on YouTube. Do it, subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up if you approve of the content. Even if you don't like it, you can approve that I'm delivering it because it isn't going to be pretty. Give it a thumbs up, notifications on. You'll be alerted every time I drop a new episode. I know everybody wants to enjoy a relaxing Sunday covering this stuff. Notifications on. Appreciate it. Emails, alwaysirishindy@gmail.com. Call in line 312-900-8815. I imagine Monday morning's not going to be pretty, but that's what I'm here for. It's your time. It's my time now. It's your time tomorrow. Call me, 312-900-8815. Tell me what you make of this nightmare. It's your time. That's what I got the call-in line for. You guys call me tomorrow. Tell me how you feel. Be sure. USA Today Fighting Irish Wire. Okay, even though the material we're covering isn't good, how we cover it is. Go over there and check it out, folks. First things first, thanks to all my hosts in South Bend. I never thought I'd get to hold and carry a Heisman Trophy. And if you look at me, you'll know why. And I admit that I never thought I'd get to carry a Heisman, and I did yesterday. By the way, it is very heavy. I figured around 50 pounds. I looked it up after. It's 45. So I really appreciated the opportunity to enjoy the morning with Leon Hart's Heisman Trophy sitting on the centerpiece on the table. Beautiful. Appreciate that. All of you greeting and meeting so many people at the tailgates. Old friends, new friends, Twitter people I haven't met before, Twitter people I'm friends with but just made it in town for the first time. All of it. Love you all. That's what this is all about, this community. Unfortunately, it's a community of misery, but it's a community. First things first. Congratulations to Stanford and David Shaw taking down mighty Notre Dame 16-14. Stop the smirk. David Shaw was laughing the entire flight back to California. I talked about stopping the smirk. Forget a little wry smile. He should be laughing at us the whole way home. And I hope he did. He deserves it. Okay. We played like 1-4 at home, not welcoming them into our place at 1-4. Congratulations to them. 1-4. It looked like they were playing like they were 4-1. Record didn't phase them. New week, new opportunity. Went in there. Good job. Stanford has not beaten an FBS team since October 2nd of last year. It's 11 straight losses against Division I football opponents. Till you play Notre Dame at home when they're running a multi-game win streak, red flag central, buddy. Red flag central. Like, listen, we have real and serious problems. And they're real and more serious problems than, let's just wait and give Marcus a year or two to get these recruits in. These are problems deeper and bigger than that. Yes, that's a big part of it. Yes, that's going to help. But I am past the point of me or anybody else saying this will all just naturally look better when there's better talent. It will to some degree, but also what's going on right now is beyond a talent issue. It's a coaching issue. It's a mentality issue. It's a scheme issue. It's an execution issue. It's all that. It's a motivational issue. So I can't let me or anybody else just say, let him get some guys in there. It'll all look better. The issues going on right now run deeper than that, and that is ultra disturbing. It's upsetting, folks. It truly is. So I love getting Love's commitment yesterday. The thing is, if you play like this, anything's up to grabs with your class, the guys you want. Like, that's the issue. when you want to say, oh, let Marcus get some guys in here. If you're going to be losing to the worst teams we play all year and then the good teams we play all year, you're not going to be able to recruit that way anyways. So it's you're getting stabbed from both ends of the knife. I've never heard of a knife that has the sharp part on both sides. I just invented it. You're getting stabbed from both ends there. Okay? Yeah, you need better talent. You bottom out like this, you may not be able to land it anyways. Then where does that leave Marcus? So I love getting love, but you play like this, it's all up for the taking. It's just bad. It's just bad. So here's the deal. Notre Dame's now starting at absolute ground zero. Again. There is no trust, no goodwill, no benefit of the doubt. No, it's over. It's over. And the issue is Notre Dame has the number one rated strength of schedule. We all know that. I've been tweeting about it. Fine. But Marshall and Stanford are not the reason you have the number one ranked strength of schedule. That's the issue. Okay? That's where this all boils down. Yeah, it's the toughest schedule. You're not losing to those teams. You understood losing to Ohio State. You didn't like it, but you could even somewhat begrudgingly wrap your mind around the idea of a slow start against Marshall, first home game, sluggish after the Ohio State physical game, quarterback hurt, all that. I hated that Marshall situation. But you could even rationalize that to some way to be able to live with it. And then we got into a little winning streak. It was ugly and the games looked better. You thought things stabilized. You were trending in the right direction. We said you just got to get better every week and all that. It's all over. It's all gone. You're starting from zero. You have no answers. You have nothing you could trust. It's really bad. This total no-show at home, again, that's the other thing. Again, against a not good opponent. Again, if you do one-offs, people can make excuses for that. When it's a trend, no, that's an indicator you have a bigger picture issue when we've seen this kind of play twice at home. Okay? So with this total no-show, there are tough questions that need to be asked and they need to be answered. We need to execute better. Yeah, obviously, you need to execute better, but this is a lot deeper than that. Notre Dame is now in no man's land. You can't trust anything ever the rest of this year after this. I tried, you guys. John, your glass half empty, whatever. I tried to be positive, look at the improvements over the winning streak. I really did think we'd come out ready to play. We didn't, and it is so alarming and upsetting. I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around it. Kelly went the last 5 seasons without losing to an unranked team. You could complain about Kelly on the top end, and I will till the cows come home. At least he figured out how to start doing that. 5 years Kelly went. Marcus has 2 of those losses in the first 6 weeks. It's unacceptable. It's just patently unacceptable. We no longer own our home field. It is free for the taking. If everybody around the country sees that Marshall and Stanford, who are 2 of the worst teams in football, can own Notre Dame, it's open for everybody. And that hurts me. That really hurts me. We have no home field advantage. It's open for the taking. That's unacceptable. Notre Dame, quite frankly, has an entitlement problem. Look at who we've lost to at home. 2 of the objectively worst teams in the country. That tells me a lot of this is on you. Too cocky at home, unfocused, distracted. You cannot be Notre Dame and play your worst wearing blue at home. This is a red flag that goes all the way down to the roots. Okay? This goes deep. For you to be doing that at home, playing your worst in front of your crowd in your home jerseys against the two worst teams we played, everything is not good enough. All of it. Notre Dame's they play entitled to me. They just do. They look like they thought you could just show up at home, roll the ball out there against Marshall and Stanford and win. That's what they play like. That's how they played those games. Kind of like they just thought they could go through the motions and beat these teams. And you're learning the hard way, that just isn't the case. It's beyond upsetting. It's like they take for granted they're at home against a bad team. I don't know how else to look at it. You're not losing to good teams at home. That is entitlement. Tells me you thought you could just roll the ball out there and win. Tells me you read John's pregame thing and thought you were going to blow out Stanford, didn't even have to show up, and you found out wrong. So entitlement is a big issue to me. You also have a coaching problem. Freeman mentioned literally 27 times in his post-game press conference execution. 27 times, literally, Freeman said execution. But it's more than that. The staff's not doing a good job of preparing these guys, putting them in the right position to succeed. Also holding them accountable if they don't. Yes, of course it's execution of the play, but that makes it seem like all these problems are on the players. And I totally disagree with that. Totally disagree with that when it's like execution. When you haven't scored a touchdown in the first quarter all year, it's more than execution. It tells you your plan sucks. It's more than execution when you don't score a touchdown in any game halfway through the year in the first quarter. It's more than execution. It means your plan blows and you have no pivot off it. Huge red flags. I'm sorry. So failures like this demand responses and real accountability. Not, oh, we need to get better. Nothing changes. And then next week, we hope you squeak by UNLV to feel better. That ain't good enough. That is not good enough in terms of accountability for these two losses against two of the worst teams in America. So saying we need to execute better and whatever, and then you want me to just hope next week it looks better and you run out the same thing? No, I ain't getting down with that. Yes, it's execution of the plays. But the big picture also tells you the plan is bad. The plan is bad. Everything Notre Dame does sometimes looks like it's pulling teeth. Like it's just so hard to get anything accomplished. And football has never been meant to look that hard. It's very upsetting. Freeman, leeway, I gave him a lot to start the year, as in wasn't going to kill him for losing to Ohio State or Clemson. But Marshall and Stanford at home, whose only Power 5 wins are us, is a total failure top to bottom on everybody. Preparation, mentality, game plan, execution, adapting, pivoting to what the other team's doing that's working. You're bad at all of it. You're bad at all of it. So, yeah, we need to execute better. But I need Marcus to be telling us why they're not executing better. I could sit there on the couch and say Notre Dame needs to execute better. Why are you not? Is the main question. It isn't the obvious that you need to do better at it. I want to know why you can't do what you're trying to do. Why? Where's your pivot? What How can you tell me your plan's a good plan and I should trust the offensive staff when you don't score an offensive touchdown in any games in the first quarter? No, absolutely not. And it's like the refs, yeah, it was bad. There were questionable calls. I can't even go there. We played so bad. I can't even begin to start blaming the refs or whatever. Like, no, this is way deeper than that. The way we played, not the win or loss, the way we played, not the final result. The way we played at home, it's not Notre Dame football, and it's offensive. It just is. It is. So this is just, I don't think anybody saw it coming. Total failure. Players, coaches, mindset. I'm telling you, entitlement. I feel that, and it's very upsetting. But there's no other way you could tell me you lose against who we've lost to at home, unless you're entitled, think you don't have to come ready, you're just going to beat them. You're not good enough to think that, and you found that out the hard way. So I'm beyond devastated because these are not, you're a few players away issues. This is big picture stuff. Totally failing. All right? Just, I can't believe it. Ohio State, fine. Clemson, fine. USC, you struggle with them. I'll hate it, but I'll understand it. But these two speak to some deeper issues than talent and personnel. Planning, scheming, pivoting, setting our guys up to succeed is not happening, especially early in games. And then you're behind trying to dig out. Not a recipe for success in a transitional year like this. It's really rough. So let's get into some of the gameplay, as sickening as that is. So let's get into this. Here we go, folks. Here we go. Perfect example. You're at home against a team that literally hasn't beat an FBS opponent in a year, over a year. You get the ball at home and you have a motion penalty before your first play. You go 3 and out, kick it to them, and then let them go right down the field and score a touchdown. You suck. You suck. That is literally the worst possible start at home versus a bad team you could ever have. I would even argue a pick 6 might be better than this, because this was a failure on both sides of the ball. Even if Pine throws a pick 6, it isn't on the defense. Both sides of the ball failed right away last night against a horrible team. Who is that on? Preparation, coaching, scheme, mentality, motivation, all of it. Effort, all of it. Fail. You suck. Okay? And it's like, listen, I agree and understand the complaint. Notre Dame's home crowd is not wild in a lame environment and all that. I understand all those frustrations. At the same time, is it not on the team to give Notre Dame fans something to yell about once in a while? I can't blame anybody for sitting there in stunned silence when you start out the game against one of the worst teams in America. 3 and out, kick it to them, let them go right down the field. What a good way to light up the home crowd. So they need to assume some responsibility for the loudness or not, and not be terrible right away. You could just feel a collective, here we go again. That's on them, not us. So, listen, I want us to have a louder crowd too. Maybe if you were better, I would be. Like, seriously, it's not all on the crowd to yell on the top of your lungs for bad play. At the same time, the Notre Dame crowd thing overall is a problem. Ever since they redid the ticket structure, it did get a little worse, where a lot of the good, decent seats for big games priced out for regular people. that are like blue collar, Subway alum, lunatic Notre Dame people that want to be loud and go crazy. Those people are getting priced out for the bigger games. And you end up with the money, people that want to come in on a sightseeing tour, have a picnic in the quad, visit the stadium for a museum, and then leave early to get out of there. There's a lot of that now, and it isn't good for Notre Dame overall other than with money. But you are pricing out the people you want to be loudest. They're around, you're pricing them out. Because I got news for you. It isn't the 1975 law firm owner graduate that's making all the noise. It ain't. I'm just telling you, it ain't. It ain't that guy and his friends. It's not. It's regular people that just love Notre Dame. That's what used to make Notre Dame loud. You're pricing them out. You could disagree. I've been to 100 home games or thereabouts. I know what I'm looking at, and I know what I see, and I know what I feel. That's the trend. When you price it out to where every game is face value, $300 for a good seat for a good game, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get the cheese and wine crowd there on a sightseeing tour. Sorry, it's just the way it is. So I just don't understand any of this. You haven't scored a touchdown in the first quarter in any game. Tell me Reese is good at his job, though. You have not scored a touchdown in the first quarter in any of your games so far. Tell me he's doing a good job and he's smart. Tell me he's a genius. Tell me I'm too dumb to possibly understand this. Tell it to me. Tell me that with a straight face. That what I see on the field isn't real, but all the other stuff is. It makes no sense. The offensive line regressed. I don't get it. I just don't get it. 34 rushes for 150 yards when Stanford's allowing 200 plus to teams you never heard. Disgraceful. Shaw, smart enough to man Mayer, zone Mayer, bracket Mayer, lead Mayer into coverage. Good job by them. No pivot. He got his 5 catches, but it was not his regular day. Oh, maybe there was a pivot. Merriweather on a beautiful post route for a touchdown. No more balls the rest of the night. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Do it. Make it make sense. Make the case for that. You're struggling to move the ball, struggling to score. Your young guy catches a touchdown. He doesn't get another ball. Explain it to me. It makes no sense. It's just illogical. So they did a good job bracketing Mayer. We did a bad job pivoting off that. Bad coaching and bad execution. I understand the personnel isn't ideal on offense. That's not an excuse to do what you did against Stanford. Clemson, maybe. Ohio State, sure. I'm not letting you blame personnel for what we saw last night. There's deeper, bigger issues. You couldn't run it. You couldn't pass it. Right when I was about to complain about why Estime didn't get his first carry till the second quarter, and I want him involved more, and can you build more around him? Second fumble in a huge situation again, you just can't have. I love the guy, but you can't. I love the guy, but you can't put balls on the ground. And it happened again. I don't care about the personnel. Reese does not adjust. He does not pivot. He does not get creative. And the biggest issue is off the fact that we don't score touchdowns in the first quarter. This is the biggest issue. His plans suck from the beginning. That's what that says. You're in the first quarter, your scripted plays, your plan for the week you've been practicing. It has not worked. That is the biggest red flag and the most obvious one on an offensive staff that I could ever think of, is that your scripted stuff, your entire game plan of easing into the game offensively, Has not worked in any game this year. Tell me Reese is a genius, though. Tell me I'm too stupid to understand how good he is at this. Tell me that with a straight face. I can only go by the results, and they're bad. They're bad. Okay? They're bad. It's a direct indictment on the whole week's plan that when you get into the first quarter, nothing works. That means from the root, you're doing it all wrong. It makes no sense. I see losing football at worst, not elite football at best with this offense right now. Neither of those is okay. At its worst, it's some of the worst football I've ever seen against lower level opponents. At its best, the offense isn't bad. Like, neither one of those is okay. Accountability, fancy word, but what does it look like? Accountability. Accountability to me is that when you run guys out against UNLV next week, I see different names out there. That's accountability. Accountability is not, we talk about that, everything stays the same, we show up against UNLV and hope it's better. No, that is not accountability. When you lose these two games at home the way you did, I need action. I need action. Because that is beyond a bad day, beyond we didn't have our mojo. No. This stuff's deeper when it's happening at home against the worst teams. So accountability to me means new guys are running out there against UNLV. That's accountability. Not telling me, trust us, we'll work on it. Maybe it'll be better next week. No, those are empty words. Pine, I took crap for being too hard on him, saying I didn't think he was a big picture guy that's the one that's going to win you a playoff game, but he's doing good now. People said I was selling him short. I tried to buy into that, support him. He's our guy. We all wanted to do well. Had a good last couple games. All of that. Now this. 13 for 27 for 151 against one of the worst defenses in America. Those guys give up 500-600 yards a week against everybody but us. Get real. Get real. So I think you learned when you have a guy like Pine and he's playing really great and in a groove, you get the last 2 weeks. When you're living and dying with a guy like Pine who's physically limited and he has an off week, this is what it looks like. 13 for 27 for 151 is amateur hour. That's not real life against Stanford. Bad look. Bad look. So let Tobias play next week. He gave you a spark, and then you used his spark, and then he didn't get another ball when you needed to win the game. Makes no sense. You can't make that make sense to me. It's a total coaching failure. It just is. I mean, get real. Now, so offensively, horrible plan, horrible execution, no pivot, total failure top to bottom. And I go back, the biggest point of all this is the inability to score a single touchdown in the first quarter of any of our games. That tells you Reese has a bad plan, that the guys can't execute, or the plan he came up with is the exact one the other guys are ready to defend. Whatever it is, your plan sucks. Huge indictment on Reese. It's not okay. This is not okay. Let's flip over to the defense. Again, I hate having this stupid discussion. 16 points allowed should be a winning effort. But the defense looked bad even in the 16 points. Bad tackling. Allowed almost 300 in the air. They didn't run it for a ton, but in the second half when they started running it, it seemed like it was up the gut. on first and second down for chunks. They ran it for under 100. But when and how they ran it offended me. A lot of second half early down runs, getting 5, 6, 7, 8 right up the gut. I know Notre Dame was banged up, has some injuries there. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Almost 300 through the air. Get real. And you know what made a comeback appearance? Notre Dame secondary guys not turning around and identifying the ball and giving up a big catch. Glad to see that's back. Glad to see that's back. That's a true Notre Dame staple. Guys trying to defend a ball they're not looking at. Welcome back. Glad to see that. Dwayne Jarrett. Hi. Michigan 2011. Yeah, bring that back. 16 points allowed. Still, major basic fundamental errors. It's just so rough. Stanford, dead last in the country in turnovers. We couldn't get a few at home. Come on, man. Your offense is struggling. You can't crank up the D, get a couple turnovers, help them out at home against one of the worst teams in America. All right, fine. Okay. So where do you go now? Because this is a total failure. And now you're starting from ground zero with nothing. Nothing. No momentum, no good vibes, nothing to build off of, nothing. It's all gone. Your road to a decent season, you ruined last night. That's over. So now you have real problems. You have real issues. Any chance to salvage the year, you needed that game last night. I don't know. What do you do now? Where do you go now? Accountability, not just the word, actions. I need guys to not be playing anymore, I think. Or not be coaching anymore. But I know that's not going to happen in the middle of the year. But I need to see a display of accountability for these losses. What does it look like? I got to be able to see it to believe it. And it can't just be show up next week, we run the same garbage out and hope a different result happens. That is not accountability. That's a joke. As for these coaches, Freeman has some major soul searching and decisions to make short term and in the offseason. He has to figure out how to handle things. Put out the immediate fire, but there's bigger picture operational stuff he has to look at too. This is not working. And any thought you had that it was is gone after last night. You don't come back from this. You don't. 5 years not losing to an unranked team, 2 times this year at home against horrible teams. Those are deep-seated issues of motivation and entitlement and execution. Killer instinct. None of that is close to where it needs to be. I did not see this coming this week. Growing pains against Clemson and Ohio State are one thing. But struggling to beat the worst teams you play at home is an indicator of deep-seated problems that go a lot beyond a play here and a play there. There's some big picture stuff that is horrible. You, as a Notre Dame fan, cannot buy into anything more from this team the rest of the year. That's over. You bought in early in the year, lost. And then you thought you stabilized, could buy back in with the 2 losses after last night. That's gone. None of us could trust anything the rest of the year. Now it's play by play, hoping it's not embarrassing. That's how I have to look at these games. There is no more big picture stuff in play. So I don't know where you go from here, but this is deep. This is deep. And there's a lot of coaching that isn't going on right now or not going on the right way. So I need Freeman to be able to figure that out because there's a lot of stuff that isn't right. Offensively, you're in big, big trouble. And it is beyond just personnel. The structure's bad. The evidence in these first quarters tells you the way you're trying to scheme a game to open it, you're judging it totally wrong because it hasn't worked in any game. So this is excruciating, unexpected, embarrassing. It's all torn down. You're starting from nothing in a dangerous spot. I hate it. I hate it. I don't know where we go from here, but we're going to talk about it tomorrow. Give me a call, 312-900-8815. Try and enjoy the rest of your day. I'm not even watching NFL, not in the mood. Talk to you.